Okay, we are back yet again. Chronologist. Did I get that right? Please tell me I got that right. If so, that'd be fantastic. Anyway, we are back again. We are creating yet another Magic the Gathering deck. This one is going to be a little bit different to the Cheerios version we created last time. This time we've got Obeka, who has a pretty neat effect. Okay, so Obeka. Yeah, the card is not here. Hold on. Okay, this is Obeka. She has the ability, the player whose turn it is may end the turn, with some fantastic flavor text of, I'm bored with now. What this means is, either on my turn or on an opponent's turn, I can give that player the ability to straight up end the turn. So in the case that they are about to lose the game, or maybe even win the game. Maybe not win the game, but I can give them the ability to end the turn, or end any effects that may happen on that turn. Little bit of extra stuff here. Exile all spells and abilities from the stack. The player whose turn it is discards down to their maximum hand size. Damage wears off, and this turn, and until end of turn effects, end. Which is just sounds amazingly fun. It just really does. What I don't want to do, and I know that I'm very susceptible of this, is I don't want to have a lot of cards that rely on this end of turn effect. I want to have a couple of cards that are like, oh, this is a cool effect, like we can do this. But I don't want every single card in my entire deck to rely on this commander or ending the turn. I think it'd be very cool, but I don't want that to happen. I want to have a couple of cards, of course, and we're going to start adding a couple of cards now, but I don't want that reliance on the commander to be there. But of course, that's not going to stop me from adding, like, Glorious End. So, just as I'm thinking here, does this effect of Obeka... Okay, so the player whose turn it is discards down to their maximum hand size. Okay, so I can't go, like, plus 10 in hand size and then discard, like, not discard at all. So that's not going to work. Because I was thinking we could just add, like, a bunch of draw card effects and then just, like, end the turn before that. But that's, yeah. They planned for that. Okay, well, I've been sitting here for a little bit, just adding a bunch of cards. When I say a little bit, I mean 20 minutes. So this is the deck that we're looking at the moment. We've got 90 cards. Jeez, that went quick. I know I said that I'm not going to try and focus on Obeka as the commander. I think the effect is really cool and really neat. However, I don't want every card in the deck to revolve around her effect. So I've added quite a few cards that do revolve around that effect. We probably need to zoom in just a little bit. Oh, okay, now it looks all ugly. I've added a couple of cards that would really benefit from her effect, and I guess that are just really good with her effect. And also good by themselves. So a lot of these, so you can see Anthem Mutineer, Encore, I bring back a copy of this card that attacks all opponents. And when they enter, they do an effect. Which I feel like will be very cool. And having a lot of cards that have that sort of myriad effect where I can attack all of my opponents all at once, I feel like will be very strong. I have also added a couple of like hostage effects as well, which allow me to just gain control of a creature, potentially for that turn, or potentially for the rest of the game. I have also added Helm of the Host for that exact reason, so I can yoink a creature with Captivating Crew, and then I can Helm of the Host to just basically make a copy of it, which would be very cool. As I said, a lot of these are like Encore, so exile from your graveyard. A lot of them have Myriad naturally, which would be pretty cool, I think. Like, when you attack, I have X amount of creatures, which all have Myriad. Hold on, we actually might need to look up the wording of Myriad. Do all of the tokens have Myriad as well? Whenever a creature with Myriad attacks, its controller may create token copies of that creature for each other opponent, which are exiled at the end of combat. So does that mean that if I attack a player with Myriad, I make like 3 other tokens all with Myriad, so they all have the same keyword? So if those tokens stay around, I then swing with 4 tokens next turn, which then each of those tokens makes 3, so I'll have 12 creatures? Is that the way that I'm reading it? Each token copies exactly what was printed on the original creature and nothing else. It doesn't copy whether that creature is tapped or untapped, whether there's any counters on it or equipment attached to it, or any non-copy effects that have changed its power, toughness, types, color, and so on. Okay. That's really interesting then. Myriad would work really well with Obeka, and also Myriad works very well just by itself. Like, it just allows you to just attack everyone all at once. Very, very neat. Very good to know. So I have added quite a few cards that have the Myriad text. As you saw earlier, the Furbolg Flutist allows you to yoink a creature and then give it haste and Myriad. Obeka allows me to keep it, or Helm of the Host allows me to copy it, so it still has Myriad. Gary, I'm not sure how many targets I have for Gary. Not many, honestly. Not many at all. Identity Thief allows me to exile a target non-token creature, becomes a copy, and then it comes back, but not if I have Obeka. Impulsive Pilferer, I just get more treasures. Kiki-Jiki allows me to copy any creature I've got, which will be really, really helpful with the ETBs I've got, and all of the Encore effects and Myriad effects. Mishra I've added because of the top line. Permanents you control have ward, sacrifice a permanent. So basically, if I do have any of these Myriad cards attacking, all of those Myriad effects, or all of the tokens that I create with the Myriad trigger will also have the ward, sacrifice a permanent. I think the rest of this stuff is pretty straightforward. It is just like copying stuff or putting stuff in. Perforos, God of the Forge might be a very good or might be a very broken card in this Myriad deck. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So with Myriad, if I swing in like a 4 or a 5 player game, I make 3 tokens or I make 2 tokens. That's like, it's a bunch of damage to my opponent every single time I attack, which actually might be pretty helpful. Okay, is there anything else that doesn't really make sense here? I'm reading and I'm like, it's actually not bad. Discontinuity is there purely for the end of the turn effects. I have tried to include like a couple of end of turn effects, so it is on theme of like, I get to control whenever my turn ends. The discontinuity is there. Dramatic Reversal allows me to untap Obeka to give like the player a choice or myself another choice. Fact or Fiction, Glorious End, Hostile Negotiation, Swan Song, Time Stop. I'd say all pretty straightforward effects there. Mirror Box, Legend rule doesn't apply to legends you control. Doesn't apply to permanents. How many legendaries do I have? If I'm going more of like the Myriad effects, then I probably don't need that card in there. I might get rid of Mirror Box. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at all of these cards. When blank enters, deal damage. Oh, actually, let's refine that search. I want it to be actually... Format is going to be Commander. I want it to be actual legal cards I can use. There we go. Let's start scrolling, I guess. This is what it's like making a new deck. If you don't know the exact cards you're going to use, then it's all over the place. And obviously this is just a list that I'm putting together. A lot of these cards may change, because I know that I only have like a couple of mana rocks here, like Arcane Signal. I have no ramp whatsoever. The only ramp I've got is Solemn, but I'm going to have to work on that. Yeah, this is just a list that I'm putting together just for a couple of cards that I think might be good for Obeka, or might like throw me in the right direction of where I want to go with this deck. Anathiomancer. Whenever it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to target player equal to the number of non-basic lands that player controls. That's going to be added. Which, if we're going to add a couple of these effects, we probably need some more copy effects as well. And then that will also allow the copy that we create to have Myriad as well, which will also help out with Obeka. That's a great idea. Blasting Station? Actually, I might need some ruling checks on Blasting Station, because if 4 creatures all enter the battlefield at once, do I get 4 triggers of untapping this creature? Oh, untapping this artifact, sorry. Oh no, I need to sack a creature to do it. I don't know if that's going to be good. If it was just like tap, deal 1 damage to any target, then yeah, but I don't think it is. When Eon Frolicker enters the battlefield, if you cast it, target opponent takes an extra turn after this one. Until your next turn, you and planeswalkers you control gain protection from that player. Wow. I'm gonna add it, mainly because the effect is actually pretty cool. Because I can be like, I can give, oh my god, okay. If I'm dealing with like extra turns, and I'm dealing with controlling when my turn ends, I feel like it'd be a pretty cool effect to give someone else an extra turn. Knowing that, like, this is a big effect. Oh, Disrupt Decorum. That's another fantastic one. Oh, Fanatic of Mogus. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage to each opponent equal to your devotion to red. That is like Gary, but you don't gain the life. That's insane. Okay, no, Fanatic of Mogus, you're going in. Oh, I've got 3 more pages to go. Yikes. Okay, let's... Hold on, let's check the search again. And we'll do something a little bit different. Okay, so let's look up white. Let's look up Myriad and then remove white and green from the effect here. Okay. We'll see how this goes. Maybe we'll find a card that's fantastic for us. Okay. When it deals combat damage to a player, each player discards a card. Not good. Blade of Selves, already got it. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you can draw a card. Non-legendary artifact creatures you control have Myriad. Okay. Dalek Squadron. Myriad Menace. Yeah, why not? The Master Multiplied. The legend rule doesn't apply to creature tokens you control. Triggered abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creature tokens you control. So it'll stop the end of the turn effects. Oh, that's insanely good. The Master Multiplied. Let's add him. And the other one's not particularly interested in. What is this? The Ever-Flowing Well. Is this a real card? The Lost Caverns of Ixalan. It is coming out. When it enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards, then draw 2, then descend 8. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform it. Then whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by it, up to 1 other target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell until the end of turn. Wow. Pretty good. Okay, so we've gone through all of the Myriad cards. Let's head back to the deck itself. Alright, we're back at 90 cards still. Right, did we add more? Yeah, we're at 95. Hold on. Refresh again. There we go, 95 cards. 95. Looking better, looking better. What is this curve like? Lots of 4-cost cards. 5 and 6s are there. If we're gonna start casting those cards, we probably need, like, them to come in and do something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to cast the Auton Soldier for 6 and then have to wait a turn. So I'm probably going to need haste. Like Lightning Greaves. What's the other ones? Swiftfoot Boots. Is there any way to get haste in red? I know, what a crazy question. There definitely is. I'm thinking of a 3-cost red card. Hold on. We'll go to Advanced Search. Creatures have haste. And it is red. And I think specifically it costs 3. This is how good my Magic the Gathering knowledge is. It's not perfect, but I know everything but the name of the card, basically. It's an enchantment, it's red, it's fervor. Creatures you control have haste. What I could do, if I'm a crazy person, isn't there a 1-mana card that gives all creatures haste? Hold on, let's run it back. Let's get rid of this converted mana cost. So creatures have haste and red. I'm pretty sure there's a card that's like all creatures have haste and it's in red. Okay, just gotta find it. Do I have anger in here? I do, yes. Because we want our creatures to like be able to come in and attack right away because they have Myriad. Mass Hysteria, that's the one I'm looking for. Mass Hysteria. So we'll add Mass Hysteria and Fervor. Okay, we're at 98. Now, I know that the lands don't look perfect. I know. Normally, I just add those lands as like a baseline, and then I just change them out if I need any like specific land base. Okay, 30 creatures. A lot of them have Myriad. A lot of them have Evoke, Encore effects, which is all good. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is actually pretty good. Imagine going like Grey Merchant of Asphodel, they counter it, and you're like, oh, damn, okay. Guess I'll just play the Fanatic instead. And you just take the damage anyway. I think this is good. I think this is a good combination between like having creatures that split and make more creatures and then yoinking other people's creatures, taking them. I think there's a lot of like chaos effects in here. A lot of, I guess it's weird to explain. There's a lot of chaos effects, but there's also a lot of like control-y effects. Like I know exactly when I want this to end. This is definitely a casual deck. Very different to my my Cheerios deck from last time. I need 2 more cards. Gotta find 2 more cards. Oh, Rising of the Day is just better than Fervor. Legendary creatures you control get 1/0. That's just better than Fervor, straight up. Oh, I said clones. Yeah, we probably need a couple of clones here as well. I want to be able to clone the Myriad effects. I'm going to get rid of Agent of Treachery. It just gives me a permanent, which is fine, but I feel like paying 7 mana, I kind of wanted to do something else. The main focus of the deck isn't to like take other people's stuff, it's more of like copying it and then keeping the copy. So I think I'm going to get rid of Agent of Treachery. Okay, deck has been updated. We have 100 cards exactly. 100 cards, perfect. Average CMC is just under 4. Okay, this is the draft of the deck. It's taken me an hour to get here, but this is the draft of the deck. I say draft because a lot of the times when I make decks, I just put cards together. Like I just put cards in a pile, and then I just see where it goes from there. As you can see, as I started out, I said that I didn't want to rely on Obeka too much, and I started adding cards that sort of relied on her. And then actually bringing in the Myriad, the Encore cards, it's probably a good idea, to be honest. And it's probably going to be really fun because the army sort of creates itself. Because if I do have a Myriad card, it creates the army, but then if I want it to stick around, I can just end the turn before combat ends. So like the options are there, which is sort of what I wanted with the Obeka deck, is I have the options to do whatever I want within my turn or within someone else's turn. And again, this option could be presented to my opponent as well, just in case they're about to lose the game. I can try and buy a friend, which I think is pretty good. Okay, and what was that blue card? It was a blue 4-mana card. Aeon Frolicker. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, target opponent takes an extra turn. And I gain protection. Planeswalkers and myself gain protection from that player until my next turn. That's so interesting. Because I can give an opponent an extra turn, so they get 2 turns before I get another 1, but then all my opponents are like messed over for it. Like this Aeon Frolicker coupled with a Disrupt Decorum is probably game ending for a player. Because I'm giving an extra player 2 turns, and Disrupt Decorum means they can't attack me. Jeez. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Again, this is a draft of Obeka. A lot of these cards might be switched out because I do probably need a lot more ramp, or a lot more artifacts to be able to play all these cards anyway. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. A link to this deck list will be in the description down below. Make sure to let me know if you have any changes. I probably will be making this deck in the next couple of weeks. If you have any changes to suggest, just let me know. I'm more than happy to take a look. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. We're probably in trouble here, because I just threw that away. Okay, yep, I know, yeah, yep, yeah. He did not need to be doubled 4 times.